Okay, boys and girls, here we go. I hope you're as excited for this one as I am. This is the Amazon Black Box J case. In my opinion, the J case is probably one of the best ones that we'll get this year. Now, I've ran into a couple of these in the stores already, so I know I have some great cars to show you today. But the one thing I haven't ran into yet is the Supra treasure hunt. I'm hoping to change my luck with that today. So let's just go ahead and dig into these cars and see what we get. Now, we'll take a look at each one of these as we go through, and then toward the end of the video, we'll talk a little bit about the box as a whole. Bummer. Bummer. So if you know what you're looking for, you can see that we did not get the Super Treasure Hunt here, and it looks like we didn't get the regular Treasure Hunt either. Now, I did pick up some regular treasure hunts in the store, so we will probably take a look at that one after we get done with checking out the cars that came in this box. As I said, the J case does have some great cars, and obviously we see some of them here, and there's actually some really good ones that are in the J case that weren't in this box too, so a lot to choose from here. So let's just go ahead and get started. We have the Batman the Animated Series Batmobile in purple. You know, at first glance, I wasn't crazy about this. I usually prefer my Batmobiles to be in the color they were originally released in, or at least something close to it. But I'm kind of digging this purple. It really works well for this casting. You know, maybe I can just imagine that the Joker stole it and painted it or something. But if you're a Batmobile collector, you know, Hot Wheels absolutely has your back. I mean, they're all the time releasing these things. This one was pretty interesting, the Solero GT. I saw a lot of people talking about this recently, and I wasn't super familiar with it, so I looked it up, and it's not actually even a real car. It's just Hot Wheels' take on a hypercar, basically. But it's a really good looking casting, and I guess the most interesting thing about it could be that it's the first time that we've had these wheels. So be sure to keep an eye out for these and some future castings, and I'm really interested to see what they do as far as color change on this going forward. Sweet Driver, not a whole lot to say about this one. You know, if you follow me for any amount of time, I don't mind fantasy castings, but this one I'm starting to feel like it's just a little bit overdone, so I'm hoping we don't get one of these for a while. Nothing against the casting itself, just it seems like it's a little bit overdone right now. Tuned cars are another thing that I'm usually not crazy about, but this tuned twin mill kind of has me. I love the paint, love the deco here. Kind of looks like a little penny racer or something, and it's definitely better than the one that we had that was a treasure hunt last year. 82 Toyota Supra. This is what would have been the Supra treasure hunt if we had gotten one in this box. Fortunately, the main line is really cool, so if you're a Toyota or a Supra fan, you're definitely going to want to pick one of these up. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize that they had done this casting before. I've only been back into Hot Wheels collecting for the past few years, so there are some castings that I've missed along the way. But I'm interested to see what other versions of this casting there are out there, because I'm really not that familiar with it. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Super Treasure Hunt or Treasure Hunt, be sure to stick around to the end of the video. I'll try to help you out with that a little bit there. 17 Audi RS6 Avant, another car I didn't know a whole lot about until it was a treasure hunt last year. Not this one specifically, but just the Avant series. And I will say, if you are an Avant fan, Matchbox has a great looking car in one of the 5-packs. It's kind of like this primer or flat, like grayish black. It is super tough looking. I've not picked one up yet, but I really need to. This paint on this car kind of looks a little out of place to me, and it's almost like the Porsche we had a case or two ago. Just really doesn't seem to fit to me. You know, you may disagree with that, but it just looks more like something you'd see on like a Jaguar or a Aston Martin, something like that. MercedesBenz Unimog. Really cool truck. If you've not seen these, like the real life version of them, you should definitely check it out. You will definitely understand why they made these into a Hot Wheels. I do feel like this could potentially be getting overdone a little bit too. Now, I know with the trucks that probably doesn't matter as much as some of the other vehicles, because really, it's kind of a different group of collectors that are usually into cars like this. Either way, not a bad looking casting. Here's another interesting one, the Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution. I'm a sucker usually for anything Mitsubishi, and especially rally art stuff. Was not familiar with this, had to look it up, and so apparently this used to be, at least the nameplate, was a full-size SUV, and basically the name just carried over into something that they put on their small truck frame. Either way, pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of like a Samurai or something, but a really neat pickup nonetheless. Nissan Maxima drift car. I think this is the third coloration we've had of this, and to be honest with you, I think it's probably my favorite. It definitely pops. Love this deco, and the wheel choice that they went with here looks really good too. I know they've used it on here before, but it definitely suits the style of the deco. Lucid Air. Not super familiar with this car either, other than they've made quite a few Hot Wheels variations of it so far. I think this is definitely the better looking out of all of them that I remember. Just kind of classy, and this black definitely has a complementary interior color. Nice detail on the taillights and the headlights. It's not really a casting I've paid that much attention to so far, but for what it is, it's a really good looking car. Again, I'm not really fond of the tuned vehicles usually, and really didn't even care for the other Silverado we had. I think we just had the one in the green, right? No. We had two. Yeah. So, maybe three. Oh my, I'm losing track. Either way, normally not a fan of this casting, but something about this paint and this deco I really, really like. I think I'm going to keep this and open it, and I may even try to get another one. I really like this version. So much so that I wish they actually made a full-size, maybe not even the 83 Chevy, but just a truck in this right here. I just absolutely love this. I don't know what it is about it. Count Muscular. So when we're talking about fantasy castings, I kind of want my fantasy castings one of two ways. I either want it like it used to be, where they're trying to skirt around not being able to get the license for a car, and you can pretty much tell what they were going for. And I guess you can kind of tell on this one. But I either prefer it that way, or that it's just absolutely a fantasy car. You know, give me the dragons, give me the cupcakes, whatever. But this one just kind of skirts the line a little too much for me. I would much rather just have an actual licensed car in my collection, or one of the mini fantasy castings. It's just kind of, blurring the line there. And, it's a shame because it does have some nice looking deco on it. But it is what it is. Of course, we have the Honda Civic Custom, usually a pretty popular car. We've had several iterations of this so far as well. I think this is my favorite. Very clean looking. Love the deco here. The glass looks really good on it. Really interested to see how this goes over. The main lines of the Honda Civic seem to be really hot for a day or two and then just die down, like they nosedive almost. So I'm really interested to see what this one does. Probably one of my favorite cars out of this case. Didn't even know it was going to be in here. 62 Corvette Gasser. And to be honest with you, I think this is probably my favorite Gasser that Hot Wheels makes. This thing just looks sick. It has a great stance. Engine and header detail are awesome. And what really pops on this one for me, I love this red on white and the decals. I mean, the deco on this, I don't think you could have done any better. The only thing I wish is that they made a regular version like this as well. Not a Gasser, just a regular old school Corvette like this. And they probably do actually, but just like this. I love it. It's great. Another one that I really love, and before we move on to this, I guess I should say, of all the cars I've seen, I have not seen that many of these. So I don't know if there's just one per case of this or what, but this one seems like it's a little bit harder to get a hold of, which kind of indicates to me that you may see this in the next case too. But just kind of a side note, I had bought a couple of these the other day, went back to look and see if they had any more, and I'm pretty sure nobody had picked through it, but didn't see any. One that I hadn't ran into at all, surprisingly, is this 84 Pontiac Firebird. Definitely glad to pick this up. I was actively seeking this. My aunt and uncle used to have a car pretty much just like this one, and I love it. Just an iconic car for this time period. And, man, they just did a super good job with it. Can't say much else about it. Last one we have from the box is the Porsche 911 GT3. Very detailed casting. Of course, we've had several of these lately, but the headlights look good. Tail lights look good. Casting itself looks good. Got some nice, just solid red paint with black racing stripes. Excellent wheel choice here. Interesting that I think we have a little bit of an error here. Somebody put some camber on my rear wheels here. People pay good money for that, and I got it for free. So I would consider that probably an error car. I'll definitely be keeping that one. Fortunately, I also have a couple of other ones that I picked up as well. Go ahead and take a look at the, I guess I should get that out of the way while I'm looking at this, but go ahead and take a look at the treasure hunt here. Excellent, excellent version of the 95 Jeep Cherokee. Absolutely love this. Pretty sure, if I remember right, this was first time casting last year. We had a couple of versions of it. But I absolutely love the deco here. The only thing is, I wish they hadn't done the mud studs on it. I'm not a big fan of that. It doesn't look too out of place on this vehicle, especially with the color. So I'm not super mad about it, but just I usually prefer it without. Either way, pretty cool treasure hunt. And, you know, it's one of the only licensed treasure hunts that we have so far this year. So kind of adds to the value of this case overall. Like I said, there's some really good cars here. And there's some that we didn't even get to look at. I may bring those up in another video because I have picked them up from the store. But, you know, there's a few muscle car offerings. And I'm trying to remember. Anyway, just check it out. Hopefully you'll be getting these in your local store sometime soon. As for the black box itself, you know, I'm going to go real quick with my synopsis here. Black boxes are kind of a mixed bag. A lot of people don't like them because they tend to be around like $1.77 or so per car, which is a little bit high, especially if you're not getting to pick what you get. So these are really good for people who are in areas where they don't get to shop Hot Wheels regularly, or where your store kind of gets scalped through and you don't get much selection. So you're at least getting fresh Hot Wheels, you're not getting duplicates in between cases, and a pretty good chance at getting super treasure hunts and treasure hunts. So I'll say so far I've got one of each, and I'd say 80% of them I've got the regular treasure hunt, and then 2 of them I got super treasure hunts. So still not bad odds overall, especially if you compare it to just regular case odds. So if you have any questions about these, feel free to ask them in the comments. I will leave a link in the description to the Amazon Black Box. And one little tip for you is that sometimes the older ones go on sale for a little bit cheaper, and probably not a bad pickup, especially if you haven't got those cases yet. I know the E-case was on sale for around $20. So they start dropping like that and prices start hitting, you know, closer to what they'd be in store. Probably not a bad pickup. Just make sure that when you get it, it's not something that's been returned. Now, as for those of you who are familiar with Hot Wheels, here in a minute you'll see a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Please do me a favor and watch that. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Still working on that 1,000 subscriber mark. And if you are new to Hot Wheels, not sure what we're talking about when we say Super Treasure Hunt, you might want to click the other button over here. That's my channel button. And there's a playlist on there for new collectors. It's called Hot Wheels Basics, I believe. Or you can just scroll through some of the older videos and see if there's anything there that might help you. I go over the basics of collecting, treasure hunts, super treasure hunts, things like that. Regardless of where you're at in your journey, I appreciate you sticking around to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I hope y'all are having a good weekend, and happy hunting, y'all.